First, my name is Riley Francis. I've been working on the StraightUp Solar team since 2018, and I like doing the work that I do at StraightUp Solar because it's something that I can do with my time and my talents to help people do something good for themselves and help them do something good for their planet. And today from StraightUp Solar, I'm joined by Brent Ritzel, Senior Solar Project Developer. Brent has been on the StraightUp Solar team for quite some time. He's one of our senior project developers, and he is based out of Southern Illinois. He's a 6-year veteran of StraightUp Solar. He is NABCEP certified in PV technical sales. And we are also joined by George McClellan, Senior Technical Sales Manager of REC. He's been working in solar PV since 2004, and prior to working in the solar industry, George worked in silicon and compound semiconductor process and technology development. A little bit about StraightUp Solar. We were founded in 2006 and we serve Illinois and Missouri, and we have over 1,700 installations to date. We're a part of the Amicus Solar Cooperative and we're a certified B Corporation. We have over 85 employees, with almost half of our employees having their NABCEP certification. NABCEP stands for the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners, and it's the most reliable and trustworthy certification of solar installers. We are an REC solar panels premium installer, and we offer a 10-year workmanship and production warranty. And some topics that we're going to be going over today. First, we're going to teach you how does a solar panel produce energy. Then we're going to speak to the different types of solar panels. We will take an overview of REC panels and take a look at the benefits of choosing REC panels. And then we'll finish with showing you how you can get started on your own solar project. And lastly, we'll finish with our Q&A session. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Brent Ritzel, Senior Project Developer, and he'll take us through how does a solar panel work.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Riley, and welcome everyone this evening. Glad you could join us. I'm just going to speak a little bit about how solar panels work and some of the different varieties of solar panels that are available. Now, of course, we're talking about solar PV, which the PV stands for solar photovoltaic, and that's where we will be directly generating electricity from sunlight itself. Now, most solar cells that make up solar PV panels or modules, as we refer to them in the industry, most solar cells are made up of silicon. Now, silicon has 4 electrons in its outer electron shell. And while many silicon atoms come together, when many of them come together, they often form a crystalline lattice. Now, if we had a small number of atoms with 5 electrons in their outer shells, like for example, phosphorus, the compound together with the silicon and the phosphorus will still form crystals. However, there will be some free-floating electrons, they'll be floating around because they simply don't fit anywhere in the crystalline structure. So that's an important step of the process to keep in mind. Now on the flip side, if we add an element with only 3 electrons in its outer shell, like for example, boron, we'll have an awkward electron hole in that structure. So looking at the graphic, how does the panel work? Silicon plus an element with 5 outer electrons is called an N-type semiconductor. N-type, N is for negative. And this is because silicon usually has 4 outer electrons. And with 5 outer electrons, it has an excess of electrons, thus making the N-type material negatively charged. Now, silicon plus an element that has 3 outer electrons on outer shell is called a P-type semiconductor, P for positive, with the P-type material having a positively charged electron-free hole. Now, when a free electron from the N-type half makes it to the P-type half, it fills a hole there. And when photons of light strike the silicon panels, as shown by the red arrows on the top, it causes electrons to be ejected from the holes that they filled. Now, this procession of electrons is what we know as direct current or DC energy, and that is produced from that interaction of the silicon solar photovoltaic panels with sunlight. So that's basically how the solar panels work and create the direct current that we understand comes off of them. Now we'll take a look at the next slide and take a look at some of the different types of solar panels that are available. There are three basic types: monocrystalline, polycrystalline, and thin film solar panels. And as I mentioned, in the industry, we refer to them as modules. Now, monocrystalline cells are made up of from a single silicon source, a single crystalline silicon ingot. And that's in contrast to the polycrystalline panels that are made up from many different silicon fragments that are melted together. Now this means in the monocrystalline case that the composition of these cells is purer, and thus the cells are more efficient at converting sunlight into electricity. Plus, also another feature of them that they do tend to have a sleek black tint to them due to the purity of the silicon. Now, REC Solar itself is a fully vertically integrated company, which means that they produce everything from the single source silicon ingots, cell wafers, and complete module assembly, giving them complete control over the quality and traceability of all of the components. And they utilize the monocrystalline approach in all the panels that I've worked with. And I've worked with a number of their panels throughout the years. And about 95% of the projects that I have developed personally as a solar project developer has included REC solar panels. Now, in contrast to the monocrystalline cells and panels are the polycrystalline ones that are blended from multiple silicon sources and are thus slightly less efficient. In the case of the polycrystalline, smaller bits of silicon are molded and treated to create the solar cell. Also, not only are they a little bit more less efficient, they also are a little bit less pricey, a little bit more affordable in general because of that. Now, a third type of solar module or panel that's available cell-wise is a thin film solar panel, which is made up of thin films of semiconductors deposited on either a glass, plastic, or metal type of sheet. Now, the films are incredibly thin, often 20 times thinner than the crystalline silicon wafers. Now, this makes thin film solar panels flexible and lightweight, and also on top of that, the most sustainable approach to solar photovoltaic. However, while it does cost less than mono or poly panels, it is also less efficient, which makes it less than ideal for residential solar. And for that reason, we usually see the applications of thin film to be primarily utility scale, very, very large size installations, or on very small specialty projects is where we do tend to see the thin film. And from there, I'd like to pass it on to George, who's going to talk about REC's premium solar panels.
Right. Good morning. Thank you very much, Brent and Riley, for the great introduction. This is George McClellan with REC. So we're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of the REC premium solar modules. We'll go into this first. Who is REC? What do we do? We don't have the biggest name in the industry right now, but we have been we've been in the industry for 25 years. We've been in the United States since 2008, so that's pretty much one of the longest running companies in the United States. We have our company is headquartered in Norway, but we do all of our manufacturing in Tuas, Singapore. Singapore is not China. Singapore actually is is covered under the free trade agreement with the United States, so they are a very good trading partner. As Brent mentioned, we are fully vertically integrated with a automated production facility. So what does that mean? We do everything at our factory in Singapore. We take the raw silicon, we make it into ingots, and then wafers, cells, and then modules. We do this fully automated, which is very important. The automation is anytime that you can reduce the amount of times your panel is touched, that's a good thing. Automation introduces variability into the assembly techniques. So we don't want to have any variabilities. We want the same thing every time, one after another. So when you do that, you have a very high quality product. High quality, you can build that reliability in, and that's what you want, is to have a very reliable product out there. This is a 25-year relationship. All of our solar modules are warranted for 25 years. So it's a 25-year relationship you're stepping into, so you need to have a very good, high-quality product. That's one of the things that REC provides. So we've installed over 400, we've had installed over 40 million panels on rooftops and in fields and on Walmart roofs and everything in the solar industry. So we have been doing this a long time. We've got lots of product out there. We are experienced. We are some of the leaders in solar technology innovation. Some of the things, we're not the largest company out there, but we are one of the most innovative. We were the first to commercialize PERC, which is a coating on the back of the cell of the module, which gives you significantly more power, decreases your thermal effect. We were the first company to use half-cut cells, which when we started doing that in 2015, a lot of people didn't think that was a great idea. Now just about everybody in the industry makes a half-cut cell, and very few are still making the full-cut cells. In 2019, we introduced the HJT, which is what's called a heterojunction cell, which adds a amorphous silicon layer to the surfaces of a N-mono cell, giving us significantly higher power, but also decreasing the complexity of the assembly. Again, decreasing the complexity of the assembly makes things simpler, less touches on the product. Again, giving a highly reliable product. And that's what you'll see with REC, is that we have a very focus on quality and reliability first and energy production last. So what we want is to have a very good product out there, one that lasts, one that's reliable, but also has very high energy production, which when we talk about our product line, you'll see we have some of the best numbers with respect to production. So the bottom line there, the bottom bullet there is the warranty claims rate. We have an industry low warranty claims rate. And what that's about, what a claims rate is that's how many modules, it's in parts per million. And what we've got is a 55 parts per million claims rate. And what that means is for every million modules out in the field, we're seeing about 55 fail, which is a very, very low number. It's world class. What that means, you can slice and dice it a bunch of different ways, but you've got it can be one module for every 15,000 modules, it can be one module for every 5 megawatts. It's really, you can, like I said, you can slice it and dice a bunch of different ways, but it always is going to come up a very, very low number. But what's also not indicating this very low claims rate is that claims rate has stayed steady for the past 10 years. It goes up and down a few points here and there, but it's been very steady, which means we have very good production control and new product introduction. The claims rate hasn't spiked up or dropped off due to any production issues, which means we have very good control under our on our new product construction and then our ongoing production. So what we'll talk about next is going to be the products. So this is what our latest product is called the Alpha Pure product. This is the Alpha, and what the Alpha Pure is really a premium product here. You can see the image of that there on the left-hand side. It's a very good looking. The aesthetics are fantastic on this. We have the bus bar is, the bus bars are hidden, the cells are black, we've got a black frame, black back sheet. It is a very good, sleek product, which is something we pay attention to, but that's not the only thing that is important to us. So the product is a very high power product. The Alpha series is coming in from 350 up to 375 watts. We've just introduced a product called the Alpha Pure, which is 385 to 405 watts. And these are all in the same small module format. We're not having to grow our modules to make them more power. You'll see that with a lot of companies. They'll say, well, we have a 405 watt module, and it turns out it's a foot larger. So we don't do that. We aren't playing those games with size. We make our mark through module efficiency. The modules have an industry-leading low temperature coefficient. So solar modules have what's called a negative temperature coefficient. As the temperature goes up, the power drops down. So so you want to have a very low temperature coefficient. So as it goes up, the temperature goes up, the power doesn't drop off as much. That's what REC provides. So on hot days, you're going to be getting more power than other modules out there. We have a back support bars on our module, which increases the durability and the load carrying capacity of the solar module. So the module itself is it's one of the strongest in the industry. We have, it is certified, is warranted for 7,000 pascals snow load. So if you're looking to install in a very high snow load area or in a high wind load area, these are the premium products that will fit into that. The module has advanced interconnect strategy. So it goes from cell to cell. We're not using the typical string connection. We're doing a advanced interconnect technology where the wires are embedded into a transparent conductive oxide film that goes from cell to cell, which again increases the amount of contact points. So you're actually contacting more points on the front side of the cell, but it's a low temperature connection. It's solderless. So with the low temperature connection, you're not putting the stresses on the cells and again, giving you a higher reliable, you're not causing any micro cracking, giving you a higher reliability product. The product is carries a 25x3 warranty, 25 years for power, 25 years for material, and 25 years for labor for REC certified solar professionals. And that's what our partners at StraightUp are. Now, what's hidden in all of this, we don't lead with that, but this is due to the interconnect strategies and the materials construction. It's a lead-free product. No one else in the industry can say that. The REC product is lead-free, so if you're concerned with end-of-life disposal, REC is not putting anything into landfills or into the ground that carries hazardous materials above the OSHA recommended standards. So that is it for the REC premium panels. I think we'll have a Q&A session after all of this, but I look forward to talking with you after we get through the other two sections.
Great, thank you, George. All right, I would like to share with you all a little bit of information about how you can get started on your own solar project with REC premium solar panels. The first step is you will share some basic information about your home and your electric use with one of StraightUp Solar's solar support specialists, and they'll get you started on the process. Second, what you'll do is you will be working with a project developer. From your project developer, you'll receive a customized system layout, proposal, and contract. If you decide that the system proposal looks good and you go ahead and sign the contract, then you'll be working with your project manager through the third step, which is the engineering, designing, and permitting process. And in StraightUp Solar, we do all of the paperwork associated with getting permits, getting designs, getting the engineering, all of that. After you go through the engineering, designing, and permitting process, you will set a date for our installation crew to come out to your home or your business, and they will build, inspect, and energize your system. And then the last step is to just enjoy producing your solar energy. And with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Brent, and thank you, George, for taking us through this presentation.